interesting looking at Patagonia that your future started 20 years ago. So what were the solutions you were looking for, and were they solutions to challenges or to questions that you were asking?
So I think at that time for us, and it was long before I came to Patagonia. I've been at Patagonia now for 4 years. But the history there is that we had been using all kinds of different cotton, both organic and non-organic cotton, just based on what we could find, what was available, what we could get through our supply chain. And we realized at about 1990, well, we realized sooner than 1996, but in 1996 was when we actually made the full transition to 100% organic, but it actually took many years. It took 7 or 8 years for us to get to where we needed to be. But the realization was that just in the state of California alone, which is where our headquarters is, that there were over 6.9 million pounds of chemicals and toxic pesticides being put onto the ground in farms, in conventional farming. And there was a realization, and our founder, Yvonne Chenard, said, enough. This is not natural, this is not pure, this is not supporting the environment, this is not supporting our mission as a company. And so, enough. And so by 1996, which was 20 years ago, we did transition to 100%.
So over that period from then until now, what were the key moments, the key challenges that you now look upon as watershed?
I think looking back on it, one of the biggest challenges that we have is that really in organic cotton farming, it only comprises about 1% of all cotton farming globally. And that really hasn't changed much in the last 20 years. In our efforts to influence other brands to come along on this journey with us, it's been very difficult. There were some brands that started and then they've come and gone. And so that's still a problem that we have, that I feel like a group like this coming together on an annual basis, that should be a huge part of our conversation of how do we increase that adoption of organic cotton and how do we support it in a better way.
I've heard a lot today too about the choices to make about whether you talk to customers who will then react directly to the producers or whether you talk to the brands to influence the customers. What's your wish list for that kind of conversation?
I think on our wish list it's twofold. One is that consumers become more aware of organic and the need for organic and really the benefits of organic farming. So in the United States, there's a statistic that 84% of Americans are eating organic food now. And 10 years ago, that number was not nearly that high. So there is a groundswell that's happening, and people are understanding the connection with what they put in their body and how important that is. And glyphosate being a chemical that is known, and there are many research studies that show it, that there's a very strong connection to cancer. So people are understanding that with organic food, and I think the challenge is to connect what we put on our body as well with human health and people understanding the connection there. The other side of it is really availability and the ability to actually scale the farming. So if the Bayer Monsanto deal is approved, then Bayer Monsanto, China Chem, and Dow DuPont will own 2/3 of the world's seeds. Huge chemical companies will own 2/3 of all of the world's seeds. So I think it's a reality and it's a fact, right? So it's something for us to be very well aware of, because regardless of what consumer awareness is, right, that will help to drive more demand, which is really important. But it is very difficult when the availability of the organic seed is a hard thing to get a hold of. So.
Of course, every session is not complete until I've heard at least one new set of vocabularies, and one I've heard today is organic plus.
Yes.
What's the plus?
So we had a very robust discussion earlier today about organic plus and do we need another standard and all of that. And I think it's not about a standard. It's about a system, right? It's about a system that allows brands to take one step and then to take another step and another step towards organic and towards a system that supports farmers, supports people, supports the environment, and really helps to improve human health. Now, what we would say beyond organic is organic regenerative. And regenerative farming practices are an inherent part of organic farming to begin with. But organic farmers are not necessarily getting credit for that. So the reason why we are so interested in organic regenerative farming is that if only 2% increase in carbon sequestration could happen in the soil that's being farmed right now in the world, it would counteract climate change that's happening right now. So we've talked a lot about the environmental goals that are being set by governments and coalitions and different agencies. And if you think about it, it's just 2%. And organic regenerative farming supports that and can actually counteract climate change, which is a huge, huge thing.
Rachel, thank you very much. I have to say, as a filmmaker, I'm not supposed to take sides, and I made my very best films by taking sides. And once again, I think for your vision and your practical success, we're on your side. And thank you very much.
Thank you.